Okay, so a few weeks ago I've done a video on the PlayStation 5, the PS5, and everything we know about it so far. So in case you haven't seen that video, check it out here, it's a pretty cool video. But the response from the PS5 video has been extremely positive, so thank you for that, and it's time to talk about everything we know at the moment in terms of the next generation of Xbox consoles. So grab some snacks, some popcorn, some drinks, sit back, relax, and here's everything we know about the Xbox 2. Okay, so Microsoft launched the original Xbox in 2001, yeah, quite some time ago, and then they launched the Xbox 360 in 2005, so 4 years later, followed by the Xbox One in 2013, which was 8 years later. Now, while the Xbox 360 was a much better seller than the PlayStation 3 was, the Xbox One actually had a very rough start. So the UI, for example, was quite unintuitive. It had that controversial DRM, where you had to be online in order to play games initially. It was significantly larger, thicker, and also heavier than the PS4, while at the same time having a massive external power supply. Like the PS4 was not only smaller, but it had an internal power supply as well. And on top of all this, the PS4 was more powerful than the Xbox One, while also being cheaper. So that's because Microsoft was including the Microsoft Kinect in the box when it was shipping this initially, and obviously as a result the PS4 became the top selling console, and it owned more than double the market share that the Xbox One did. However, in November 2017, as a response to Sony's upgraded PS4, the PS4 Pro, Microsoft released the Xbox One X, which still is at the moment the world's most powerful console. The One X packs 6 teraflops of GPU compute power, 12 gigabytes of GDDR5 memory versus the PS4 Pro's 4.12 teraflops and 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 memory. So yeah, quite a significant difference in terms of the actual specs. And, you know, as a result, the Xbox One X can indeed do true 4K gaming at 60 frames per second, rather than checkerboarded 4K at 30 that the PS4 Pro can do. So the X is already a true 4K gaming machine, even though support for native 4K 60 games is quite limited to mostly the Forza series of games and Fortnite. And we know that Sony's working on a PS5 for release in 2019 or 2020. Now, in terms of the Microsoft Xbox 2, this would be released in 2020, not 2019, so it's still a bit far away. Okay, so what exactly do we know in terms of the Xbox 2? Well, at E3 2018, Phil Spencer, the head of Microsoft's Xbox division, told the audience that our hardware team is deep into developing the next generation of Xbox consoles, where we will once again deliver on our commitment to set the benchmark for console gaming. Notice how Phil said Xbox consoles in plural, rather than just an upcoming single Xbox model. And the initial leaked codename for the Xbox 2, or whatever Microsoft's going to be calling this thing, is Scarlet. However, a brand new report in August claimed that a codename was actually Anaconda instead of Scarlet, and then a few more reports in September claimed that the codenames were actually Anaconda, Lockhart, as well as Scarlet. So yeah, there you go. We have 3 different Xbox models that do seem to be already in the works. Okay, but why 3 models, and how would they actually differ from one another? Well, at the moment we don't really know exactly, but what we do know is that Microsoft plans on focusing heavily on cloud gaming. In fact, they've even said at E3 2018 that the next generation of Xboxes would be the last generation of physical Xbox consoles, followed by a full switch to streaming services for the following generation. So my guess is that the entry-level Xbox, the first model, would be a streaming-only machine. So, you know, this would allow Microsoft to heavily decrease the cost of this. I mean, realistically, they could even price this thing at $100 or so, since, you know, you would mostly be paying for the controller, and other than that, you'll have a small streaming box like, you know, a Chromecast or an Apple TV, so similar to that. Now, the Meteor Xbox would be very similar to the Xbox One X in terms of the specs, with 4K 60 gaming support, while the higher end model, the Xbox 2 Pro, let's just call it the Xbox 2 Pro, I think that's a pretty good name, that would have support for even 8K gaming. So 8K gaming is something that Sony's already rumored to be working on for the PS5, and considering that the Xbox 2 would actually launch after the PS5, and we've already started seeing some consumer 8K TVs at CES 2019 from Samsung, LG, Vizio, and much more, you know, 8K support for the Xbox 2 Pro seems very likely to happen. And speaking of Microsoft's rumored gaming streaming service, it is actually 100% official. It's official and it's actually coming. So it's called the Microsoft Project X Cloud, for now at least, and it would support more than 3,000 games that are available at the moment on the Xbox One. So it would work on both the Xbox One as well as PCs running Windows, of course, and the public beta would begin in 2019. So there you go. This is what the next generation of Xbox consoles would come built in with, and yes, it seems like even the current generation Xbox Ones would support Project X Cloud as well. Plus, you know, it will also work on smartphones, which is awesome. Essentially, essentially all you would need is, a device and the fast Wi-Fi 4G or 5G network. So far Microsoft said that they managed to optimize this for a 10 megabit per second connection, which is really good. We don't know obviously at what resolution, probably 720p at that, but they're working on scaling it for even faster connections as well. And then a new report coming from ZONEofTECH gives us a bit more insight into how Project X Cloud could work for a future generation of Xbox consoles. Apparently, Microsoft's Xbox Cloud would use a semi-custom AMD Picasso chip. Now, in case you don't know what these are actually the exact same chips that AMD is using for their third generation Ryzen processors, the Ryzen 3000 series. This is their upcoming laptop CPUs, which have actually been announced at CES 2019, so even those are official. So these would be included not just in Microsoft's cloud streaming service, the servers, but it is also rumored to be the processor that's included in the baseline Xbox 2, the low-end Xbox 2, which would be the one made with just game streaming in mind. The other two Xbox 2 models would still support the CloudX game streaming service, but they would also support local gaming. So yeah, that's not going to go away anytime soon, at least not until, the next generation, the following generation of Xbox consoles. Now, in terms of those processors, leaker TUM posted a schematic of the AMD Navi APU, codenamed the Gonzalo APU. So this is the APU that's rumored to be included in both the PS5 and the Xbox 2s, with just some slight differences between the two. This is similar to what AMD has done with their Jaguar APU, which is the one that powers the PS4 Pro, the PS4, and the Xbox One X, all the models of the Xbox One. So, they only had a slightly different clock speed. So, for example, on the PS4 Pro, we had 2.13 gigahertz, and then on the Xbox One X, we had a slightly higher clock at 2.3 gigahertz. Now, the Jaguar was a quad-core processor, but this one is set to be an octa-core chip with a max clock speed of 3.2 gigahertz per core, which is pretty awesome. So this would be a massive performance improvement from the Jaguar APU, plus the Gonzalo is also based on AMD's Zen 2 architecture, which is also based on a 7nm process versus the 28 nanometers that, we had on the Jaguars. So yeah, in terms of the power consumption, the Gonzalo would be significantly more powerful and also power efficient, and therefore the next generation of consoles can run cooler while also achieving much better performance. Now, on the GPU side, both the PS5 and the Xbox 2 would include AMD's next generation Navi Gpu architecture, which would also be based on a 7nm process. Now, this is something that's a bit difficult to do. However, AMD has already announced the AMD Radeon 7. The Radeon 7, which itself is based on a 7nm process. This is actually the world's first GPU to be based on a 7nm process. So yeah, they seem to be on track when it comes to mass producing the 7nm Navi architecture in 2020 for the next generation of consoles. Now, since both Microsoft and Sony are already using AMD CPUs and GPUs in both the PS4 and the Xbox Ones, it would make a lot of sense for both of them to continue their partnership with AMD and continue using AMD components in the next generation of consoles. And all the new Xboxes would be backwards compatible with the Xbox Ones and even some of the Xbox 360 games. So this is something that even at the moment the Xbox One does support, backwards compatibility with some of the Xbox 360 games, actually quite a lot of them. And something big that's more than likely coming to the next generation Xbox is finally a VR headset. Who's excited for VR? Let me know in the comments. But yeah, even though Microsoft has basically pioneered 3D tracking with the Kinect back when, the original Xbox was released, that was pretty cool. Never really tried it myself, but I've seen it in action and it's pretty cool. It was, at least. Now it's pretty much dead. But there was no VR headset for the Xbox One or the Xbox One X. But Sony, on the other hand, has released the PlayStation VR, but the display is less than 1080p for each eye, and it requires a lot of cables and external processing units in order to, work properly. So it's okay, but it's heavily held back by the performance or the lack thereof for proper VR support on the PS4. But with the power of the Xbox 2 and the Xbox 2 Pro, a VR headset would be something that both of these consoles should be easily able to handle. Probably not the entry-level streaming Xbox console, though. And then also, Microsoft has been working on the HoloLens, their augmented reality, the AR headset, for a few years now, so there's a very high chance that the new Xboxes would also feature support for AR as well. Okay, but what about the design? How is the new Xbox going to look like? Well, unfortunately, we haven't had any design leaks up until this point, but we are going to get 3 different Xbox models, all of them with a completely different design. So the smallest one would be, the cheapest one, and then the middle one in the middle in terms of the design and the size, and then the biggest one would be the Xbox 2 Pro, or whatever that thing is going to be called. So this is the ZONEofTECH concept on how we think that the Xbox 2 could look like. Now, I do believe that Microsoft would make this look very similar to the Surface laptops, so expect to see something like a logo, a Microsoft logo, on the top of the Xbox, and possibly even the same color scheme as we have on the Surface Pros. So this light gray is very similar to the ones that they use on the Surface Pros, and then we could also have a black variant for maybe the Pro, and then maybe a white variant for the entry-level streaming-only Xbox. But yeah, personally, I'm really looking forward to all of these. The best part about the next generation of consoles is that, at least with the Xbox, you would be able to play from any device, like any device you want, PC, laptop, mobile phone, tablet, you name it, you would be able to play your games anywhere. And I think that this is where gaming should definitely be heading towards. I mean, you know, you can watch YouTube and stream Netflix on any device you want, so why not, you know, try and work towards achieving the same goal, the same thing with video games. I'm really happy to see that this is where the industry is finally heading towards. But yeah, let me know in the comments what do you guys think about all this game streaming in general, the specs of the Xbox 2 that have been leaked so far, and also those concepts that we did in terms of the design of the Xbox 2. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think about the next generation streaming services as well. I'm Daniel. Subscribe and enable notifications if you want to see more interesting videos like this one. Hopefully this one was interesting. Tap the bell icon so that you get notified as soon as a new video comes out. Also, guys, you can join the Zone, be part of the Zone, and you can support the channel, and you also get some pretty cool rewards in return. But yeah, this has been pretty much it. Give us a like if you enjoyed it to let me know. I'm Daniel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.